All right. Awesome. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, POLYWHALE, for being here. Um, again, this is our fireside chat, our second one. POLYWHALE, thank you so much again for accepting and agreeing to be here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey
Thanks for
guys,
inviting us.
thanks for having us.
All right. So it's been an exciting few weeks for anything in the Polygon community. I know y'all have recently just launched. I wanted to start off with a little bit about the team. Can you dive into who's behind POLYWHALE?
Well, the one and Mr. Smith. um, I guess
Yes.
What are you going to answer that?
Yeah, well, why not? So yeah, we was obviously started off with the two of us, and we started quite on a ramp, trying to push it out as fast as we could, and being the first kind of accelerate things, and the hype kind of got quite big very fast. So we kind of had to expand quite rapidly. And kind of now we went from obviously 2 people to about, I'd say, around 13. So obviously it's like a very hectic environment going from 2 to 13 in about 2 weeks. Going from marketing guys, people who deal with partnerships, community managers, and everything like that adds up quite fast. But yeah, I think it's a strong 13 now, which is quite good. Yeah.
Can't hear you, by the way.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
That was just a bit confused there.
No, that's my bad. So how did you find the 13 that you've now got? Were they knocking on your door, or was it people you identified in the community?
It's been a mixture really. So it's primarily people from the community, but ever since we launched, it's been a bit of a nightmare at the same time because we both get just completely spammed with messages. So it's quite easy for us to miss a lot of messages as well. And there's all sorts of people reaching out with different, offers and things like that. But obviously, you got to be careful because you don't know who you can trust in this space. So yeah, I mean, people reaching out to us primarily, but we kind of try vet them, I guess, as much as we can. Obviously, we're anonymous ourselves, which makes it difficult as well to build like a mutual trust. But it seems to be working so far.
Okay, no, that's awesome. So I guess dive into a little bit about POLYWHALE. For people who may not know what it is, for those that are watching, give them a little intro. You can hear me this time, right?
Yeah, well, I was like, yeah. Because I mean, there's multiple ways of describing it from from the current, because we kind of set it up in multiple stages. Stage one is for how we are attracting as much attention as we possibly could, as much TVL as we possibly could, and as much traffic as we possibly can, to try and kind of get people in. And obviously, the best way to do that is high APY numbers, strong community, build that thing up from the start. Then obviously we currently working heavily and very close to releasing our yield aggregation contracts, which will be essentially at the start farming, in this case sushi, but we're going to expand to QuickSwap, Aave. Pretty much every single farmable spot on Polygon will be farmed by us. We're essentially trying to build a one-stop shop for a gamified version of a yield aggregator.
Nice, yeah. maybe some room for collaboration there in the future.
Yeah, because we're also so once that the main thing about it is once we have that in place, we're obviously adding the gamification features around it, like lottery. Then we're adding, once we get a lot of TVL and attention, you know, a launch pad, stuff like that, to kind of create a whole ecosystem around kind of Krill and POLYWHALE.
Yeah, no, awesome. How do you kind of come up with these different ideas? Is it something that y'all are sitting down doing an ideation session together, or is it stuff that you're kind of hearing from the community? Hey, we want to see this. Hey, we love what y'all are doing. We would want to see that.
I think it's a bit of both. Like obviously at the start when the community was small and a bit detached, it was just us essentially, plus a couple of people that joined us. But now the community is quite strong. There's a lot of supporters. There's a lot of kind of core members that are always there, that always, you know, they're answering questions as well. You know, they're helping out, and a lot of their kind of ideas we listen to, because some of them are quite good, like very good, and you know, we take them, we put them down. Obviously, some are molded into stuff, some are changed a bit and you know, and implemented differently. But yeah, kind of a bit of both, I think.
Okay. Oh, great. Where did the idea spark, or how did the idea for POLYWHALE really ignite?
I think me and Mr. Smith were talking about it one night because we're both very heavy Polygon fans,
Gotcha.
and we kind of always wanted to look for projects on Polygon. And our main thing was, you know, Polygon is gonna, you know, spark, start. The inflection point is gonna start when they're gonna get their trifecta of decentralized exchange, lending protocol, and a yield aggregator, and a thing to farm. So it was missing a big yield aggregator, but it had the first two quite strong ones. Obviously, you know, we had the quick swap, and there's other people joining the game right now, and obviously Avid joined, which is a massive behemoth with right now over towards a 2 point something billion of TVL, and you could farm it as well, which is quite a catalyst. That's what essentially started Binance Chain, you know, Venus plus yield aggregators.
Exactly.
So we thought if not, why shouldn't we fill the gap? Why not us? You know, why shouldn't we accelerate the Polygon, you know, inflection? And we just kind of started working from then on, and had the idea, and kind of didn't sleep from then, and just pushed it.
Another reason for that as well is we wanted to try and be first, because we have we've obviously been around for a while, and it's just obviously we're anonymous as well, which people don't like, but it is what it is for now. But we wanted to make sure we can try protect people in a way, because you've already seen scams popping up, but more and more are going to happen. We wanted to be first to try get a barrier in place so people can kind of feel secure with us. Obviously, we're anonymous again, like I've said, but we just want to protect people's funds as well and make sure everything's secure on our side. So, yeah, that's another reason we wanted to.
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
There's a good example, because what we had, I think 2 or 3 rugs already in the last 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's quite annoying, because obviously that puts a bad image on Polygon, and that is literally the opposite of what we're trying to do. And the more users and the more TVL we suck into us, where we know, you know, from our end at least it's safe, the better it is in our perspective for just the growth of Polygon and overall.
That's beautiful. I mean, same thing over here. Like we love Polygon, and it is sad to see some of these individuals taking advantage of people's good faith and goodwill. What sparked your obsession, I guess, with Polygon, or where did it start, and what kind of started that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think we discussed that with Mr. too much about in general. But for me, I think I liked it from quite early on in 2020, when I first kind of started looking heavily into it. But back then, you know, there was other stuff like XDAI, etc. There was other layer 2s that were kind of there, and they had the same adoption level, and some had way more TVL. So it was kind of like one of many. But I think where stuff really started changing, I think, is about, I think, November last year, something on those lines. That's when QuickSwap was announced. Someone then I don't remember exact dates, but
That's
it
right.
was released around December, and that's when I think like I knew, this is it. I think this is going to be the layer 2 solution I'm going to be betting on. And from January, that's when I went very heavy as well into it. Not just time, also investing wise. And yeah, it worked out quite well for now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, it's shot up heavily over the last few months. I think most of the people watching are probably happy campers with the way that Polygon has risen, just in terms of adoption as well as just the Matic price overall. I did want to jump into like your social media, your Telegram, your Twitter. It's a real fun place. It seems like y'all have a really great culture, a fun culture. Do you have anything that you want to maybe? I mean, maybe expand on that a little bit. Like, how did that start, or who's helping create this fun and engaging culture that y'all have at Polywhale?
Um, I don't know. We're both pretty like laid back in a sense, and like to have fun with things. Because there's no real need to take most things serious. I think people take too much serious in life. But I don't know. I don't know. It just all seemed to click together as like when we launched and the hype got going. So we was just going with it, going with the flow. So I think the fun just kept expanding from there, and we've always like enjoyed the idea of gamification and things like that. So we want to build a platform that really integrate that into it. So yeah.
Yeah, because we also understand that usually for bigger projects, community seems to be kind of like 50 to 70% of the driving force. It's kind of like a self-advertising machine. And the stronger your community, I think the stronger the project. And we try to capitalize on that a lot, and we have a couple of guys that are helping out with that, with tweets, etc., just to kind of make it interesting for the community to be here, actually cause real conversations to happen in the chat, not
Yeah.
just like,
and transparency. I think that's
Yeah.
key as well. Again, we're
which
anonymous, but
we try to be as transparent as possible. Like when anyone asks very in-depth questions about specific code things or anything like that, we just always try to respond in as much detail as possible. I think once the community starts trusting you, I think that's when things can really start picking up, because they will be the vehicles that you can advertise with and
Gotcha.
push yourself forward.
100%. 100%. And so, Mr. Smith, you had mentioned the launch. Can you tell us and the community, the people that are watching, what were some highs and some lows of the launch? I mean, we're kind of going through that launch process as well over here. Yeah, what were some highs? What were some lows? What were some things that went well? Some things that you would advise against or away from?
It's So, the main thing, the highs and lows, they're a difficult one, because it was all like, majority of it was a high for us, and a lot of fun and exciting, as you'd expect, because everything was so fast. The low points is like the FUD that comes with it, because obviously, like, we saw a huge spike in the price, and it's completely out of our control. Like, we literally can't do anything about that. And people get caught up in the hype. They're buying it at high price, and then obviously it's just natural for a project that's so new to drop in price so much. And with that comes so much negativity after. So the initial rush, amazing, but then on the way down, people seriously flooding. Like, we had some pretty negative comments in our inboxes as well, so you might expect some of those. I think the best thing to do is just try to be transparent with people, answer the questions, make them feel comfortable, and ignore, not ignore, but like if somebody's saying something that's, it just seems like a bit of a personal attack, just brush it to one side and just try ignore it, really. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we're definitely interacting a lot with our team so far, and people in the community. So far, not too much fighting, but yeah, we launched after you guys, and still kind of learning a lot about launching on Polygon. So you mentioned a little bit about the gap you were filling within Polygon. Could you maybe expand more into some challenges you think the DeFi space is facing as a whole, and maybe also within Polygon aside from just that?
Well, DeFi as a whole is quite a big topic, I think, but like a lot of it stems, I think, from kind of the not the frequency of money, but the bandwidth of money. So if for example on Binance Chain, it was very leveraged. There was a lot of TVL. It looked like there was a lot of TVL, but a lot of it was just wrapped in aggregators and then wrapped on Venus, and it ended up looking a lot more than it was. So it wasn't usable TVL. That's the main issue right now, where a lot of it, when people farm protocols, especially the lending protocols, what happens is they wrap their tokens. So they would lend, borrow, lend, borrow, lend, borrow to get more APR. What happens then is 90% or whatever of the stuff you deposited becomes unusable. It becomes just dead TVL, just a number. It's not contributing to the actual, the reality of what it's made for. People actually borrowing from the protocol, people actually lending. Because if you just wrap it, nothing happens. It's just kind of like a dead end. You're just essentially making money. That's simple as that. And I think that probably is one of the biggest kind of things right now in the DeFi space, where everyone is just looking for the next cash cow. And obviously that hinders some bits, but it allows us to play into stuff like that. Whereas, that's how our initial launch was. That was the plan behind our initial launch. Try to lure people in with the high APYs for them to notice us. If we just started off with pure non-emission based, aggregation of yield, no one would look at us with, sub 100% APRs. Even though, if you think about it logically, that is still a crazy number in the normal banking system, even in the normal DeFi all over the place. 100% is insane, but as a new project, when farms start, they're all 1,000, 1,500%. Like no one even looks at you if you're sub 300%. So you got to try to hit the masses. You need high APRs to start off with, to try and attract as much attention as possible, from which then you can become more sustainable, after a couple of weeks or whatever. But once there's enough eyes on you, so you can go from there, because you need that initial push where people just come, a lot of people flow in, and it's very hard to do right now in the DeFi space without having crazy numbers. And I think a lot of projects suffer from that, and I think it's quite an issue for a lot, because not all projects can start off with big numbers, because sometimes it's physically impossible with their tokenomics and structure. And they cannot attract the user base, even though a project could be amazing tech-wise. No one comes and no one uses it because no one knows about it. There is never that initial avalanche of users coming in and pushing in, looking at it and sharing it. But yeah, I think that would be probably the biggest issue right now with DeFi.
That makes sense. Yeah, especially in Polygon, we become numb. I'm sure if you're a Matic holder from the beginning, you're, at least even from the beginning of the year, like you become numb to all these like numbers, right? Sub 100, yeah, it's not even worth it to even look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other updates? I mean, you covered a little bit about what you guys want to do, what you guys have done, but what's something exciting coming up for POLYWHALE?
I'd say the most exciting and the most thing that's going to come out very soon is our yield aggregation. And it's that we're trying to make it so there's a lot of yield aggregation protocols on other networks, and they seem to be, some of them are quite boring. Like all you do is you put your money in, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like you just forget about it. Obviously there's compounding, so you still generate money. It's not bad, but I think what we're trying to do basically is try to cause interaction with the platform, try to get people to come back, try to have some sort of reason for them to come back. So currently we're obviously introducing some interfaces into our thing that we can later upgrade into that will allow us to implement NFTs into our yield aggregation. So there's a reason for people to come back for it to be more like a game sort of thing rather than slap you money, leave for a month. Like we want them to come back and keep using the platform, because the more people come back, the bigger the community, the more people get invited, and it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, I think anything to do with gamification right now on crypto is amazing, and it will. I mean, to be honest, not even in crypto. Gamification works everywhere quite well. Like even websites like LinkedIn have a lot of gamification in them that people don't realize, with levels and points and likes and stuff. I mean, yeah, likes on, but yeah, basically gamification as a whole.
Yeah, just upping the engagement level overall.
Yeah.
I think definitely would be fantastic. Oh, that sounds awesome. Also, just off topic question: red pill or blue pill?
That's a good question. What about you, Mr. Smith?
Probably take the red pill, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's obvious with us, right?
No, awesome. Cool. I guess I don't know if you've had a chance to see a little bit about what we're doing at Qidao. Any thoughts there?
Well, yeah. Well, I had a look. In terms of it's quite an interesting thing. Of obviously getting a stablecoin that's over collateralized by Matic. Sort of similar idea to, I assume, MakerDAO, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Obviously, just on Polygon, and you don't have to pay $700 to open your vault like you do on Ethereum, which is, I think, it's amazing. And I think that is, I think, one of the important things where, for example, on Binance Chain, it's Venus with Vi, where the generation of over collateralized stablecoin happened, and I think obviously Matic doesn't have anything like that right now. As far as I know, you're the first guys. So I think it's quite important as well to push it to that extra level where people can actually generate another stablecoin that can be used for DeFi, which is just another vehicle to do more things with.
No, beautiful. Do you see in the future maybe a me Krill stablecoin?
I mean, certainly we could, I think, do things in many different ways, because you guys obviously just starting, like, liquidity, and there's a lot of different ways we can attach the Legos. But yeah, that whatever helps both out, I think that's the best case, right? Because everyone on Polygon should work together, I think, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, is there something that you want to ask the community, or is there any way that the community as a whole can help POLYWHALE out? Is there a community ask that you may have?
Stop the FUD.
But I think in general, it's just
educate.
Be more friendly. Yeah, be more friendly, because obviously in our community, people are starting to help. We release some tutorials and stuff, because it's not as simple as Binance Chain, Polygon wise. Like you can't just withdraw from Binance and it's there. So there's a lot of education that is needed for people to bridge over, either through Binance Chain or through Ethereum. And I think the community in itself is a big help for that, because obviously if you're onboarding thousands of people, there's no matter, you can't hire enough managers and mods and everything to really explain everything to everyone. But when the community does it on its own, when they're educating their friends and when they're educating how to use stuff, it helps a lot, like a massive amount. People underestimate how much it helps by just telling your friend that is struggling how to get to Matic and explaining, oh, by the way, you can use Exfoliate Bridge when it has enough liquidity through Binance Chain, saving yourself $100 of fees. Like, a lot of people don't know that, and they might waste a couple $100 going through Ethereum, especially right now. There's a spike for some reason. But simple things like that actually add up and help the community as a whole. And then because of that stronger community, again, boosts Polygon in itself. So
Oh, that's awesome, and I have seen your educational videos, and I'm not ashamed to say I may have used one.
but yeah, we're trying to expand on that, trying to kind of cover as much stuff as possible. Obviously, we want a bit of POLYWHALE branding in there, but we're still trying to keep it as abstract as possible, that it can actually help others
And
that are not in the
yeah,
POLYWHALE ecosystem.
and
I think it's great.
also, oh sorry, yeah, also with our exchange listing on Bitforex, we've basically, as part of the agreement, they're going to be integrating direct withdrawals to the Matic network. So I suggest, like, if any other Polygon projects are looking out to exchanges, maybe try get that as a requirement too, because it obviously just helps the network as well. Just opens another gate for people to get on
Yeah.
easier.
No, awesome. We want to respect your time. I know we had mentioned it'd be about 25 minutes. So as kind of a parting question, and this is something that we'll continue to do with our fireside chat guests, is who from the community would you want to hear from next? Are there some projects or individuals that kind of pique your interest and you'd want to hear from?
That's a very good question, actually. I would. It's a very hard one, because obviously recommending one person is,
You
But
can recommend multiple. That's fine.
I mean, obviously we had a couple of big projects. I mean, Sushi joined very recently and started their incentive program. It would be cool to obviously find out where their head's at, where they're going. But obviously there's behemoths like Aave that are what we thought would be as a side note on Polygon, but it seems to be that a lot of liquidity is migrating over. So, how serious, it just in general, their whole ideology and stuff like that. But yeah, I think anyone that's big enough to affect the Polygon ecosystem in a massive way with a snap of their hand would be very good to hear
But
from.
also some of the projects that are, well, like solely on Polygon, like Common Swap, I think that's how you say it. It'd be cool to hear from those guys. Yeah,
they're doing quite interesting game stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you had fun. I hope it was a good time for y'all. And
Yeah, it was good.
yeah, I hope that we can work together in the future. Do some collaborations. We'll keep the chatting lanes open. Is there anything that you'd want to say to the community before we leave, and also let them know how they can best keep in touch with y'all?
I think the best way to keep in touch with us is just our Telegram group.
Yeah.
I think that's like the best way to keep in touch with pretty much updates and everything. But what we want to say to the community, I mean, keep krilling, but
Wow.
I don't know. Honestly, it's just, as I said before, help people get to Polygon, because they don't realize how good it is until they try it. Honestly, once you try it, you're not going back. It's just simple as that.
Same. We caught the Polygon bug and never looked back.
Yeah, and I think it's with everyone, especially if they ever experience Ethereum or even a Binance chain. It's just not even a question.
Exactly. Well, thank you, the one. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, and we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Man.
No problem.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.